Hello, welcome to Inspiring Women with ADHD. I'm Renee Allen, your host, and I'm excited to be here today. Today, we're going to talk about, or I guess I'm going to talk about, how to be on time, how to not arrive late, how to get somewhere when we want to get somewhere. And that can be a challenge for women with ADHD, for anyone with ADHD. It can even be a challenge for anyone. But I'm going to address it more toward things that we can relate to with ADHD. But I have a few questions for you. So, when you are late, does it stress you out? Does it stress you out to think, oh no, I'm going to get there late? Or do you think, that's okay, I'm going to be late, not a big deal? Maybe it depends on where you're going and what the occasion is. Maybe it's a soccer game or something, and you don't care if you're there at the beginning of the soccer game. Then you get there and you think, oh, this is cool, and it might be a doctor's appointment. And if you don't get there by a certain time, they're going to cancel your appointment. So there may be different reasons why it's important to be on time. Are you somebody who thinks it's important to be on time no matter what? Or is there some variance? Do you get stressed when you realize that you're late? Or do you just think, it's not a whole lot I can do about it? I'm still going to go. I know different people have different responses to that. I have a daughter who, when she was younger, when she was in school, she would always stress about being late places. And I made sure that we weren't late. But even if we left a little bit later than we usually did, she would panic. She would talk about it. We're going to be late. We're going to be late. I'd say, no, we're not. We'd have this whole battle on the way to school. And I think we're not going to be late. And one morning, I actually took something that was in the front seat and put it over the clock that she could see from the back seat so she couldn't see what time it was, because she kept looking at the clock and thought, this means I'm going to be late. And I said, it doesn't mean you're going to be late. You're still going to get there early. But it completely stressed her out to think of being late. Whereas my son wouldn't have cared at all. Oh, I'm late, no big deal. He'd walk in, I'll just go in the office and get a slip or whatever they had to do to be late. One of my good friends, when my oldest daughter was little, had a daughter who refused to go to school if they arrived late. And they were in, I don't know, they were like in second and third grade. I remember driving to the school, and sometimes I'd be later than they were. And I'd pass them on the road and I'd see my friend. Her son was no longer in the car because he walked into school, but her daughter would be in the car with her because she could not handle the idea of walking in late and having other students look at her. And that just, even from a young age, that stressed her out so much. And whereas my daughters were like, oh, we're just late this morning, that's okay. Most of the time, I think we were on time, but I do remember passing her and asking her about that. How come your daughter was going back with you? Is she sick? And she said, no, she just won't go in. She just won't go in. I can't get her to go in. And so different people do have different responses. One thing that I've learned that helps me, because it does stress me out to be late, I think, oh no, you think of the scenario when you get there. I'm gonna, like maybe it's like this second grader. I'm gonna walk in, and you play out in your mind what's gonna happen when you arrive late, or what the people's reactions will be when you arrive late. And at some point in my life, and this is several years ago, I realized in those, let's say it took me 15 minutes to get there, in those 15 minutes, but really, let's say in those 10 minutes, I'm not late. I'll be 5 minutes late. So for at least 10 minutes, I can enjoy not thinking about being late because nobody there even knows I'm late yet. They're not even going to know it until that time. So why are you letting that bother you now? And I try not to let it stress me out anyway, but especially when I'm in charge of something, or if it is rude to somebody else, I don't want to be late. But I do teach yoga classes and I want to get there before the other people, or, sometimes they get there early. Today I had a class and a lot of them were set up when I got there and I thought, oh, wow, this is fun. But other times, if I'm getting there and I'm there before everyone else, it's kind of a welcoming thing, like I'm the person in the home that opens the door and says, "Come on in, this is my home." That's kind of how I feel when I'm teaching a class. I can welcome them in as they come in. But if they do come really early and it's not possible for me to get there, I'm going from one class to the other, then I'm okay with coming in after them, especially when I'm still early. I still have time to get set up and do what I want to do. And I laugh sometimes while I'm talking because my hand is waving like crazy while I talk. I talk with my hands and they're just going. Eventually, I'm going to record my podcast with video, but until then, I just get to tell you about what my hand's doing instead of you seeing it. But another question I have about being on time, arriving late. Are you late? If you are late, are you late sometimes, but not other times? Are you late all of the time? You just can't get somewhere on time. I have, a friend who was like that, and everyone knew her family would arrive late. That's what they do. My mom, I kind of felt like that was how it was for her. She arrived late to things. I don't think she does anymore, but she would say, "Well, I've got 5 kids, trying to get them out the door. And if everyone knew what it took, and I could write a book about being late." And we just think, "What? Why would you write a book?" But I think she was saying, I have so many things that come up, so many stories, so many scenarios that come up that I wasn't planning on, and now I'm late. So she was late a lot, but maybe not all the time. But I found, at least for me, that I can get there on time for certain things, and it can even be the same time of day, because sometimes it's just, oh, I'm not a morning person, so it's really hard to get up and get somewhere on time in the morning. And for me, it could be the same time of day, but depending on where I'm going, and I think there's some psychological aspect to that. Depending on where I'm going, I either don't feel the need or maybe I just don't want to arrive early. Have you ever experienced that where you think about it and you think, yeah, I could leave now, but I'd get there 10 minutes early. Let's say it's a concert at the school or something. Actually, 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes early would be good for a concert at the school. Anything that's a big school event in the evening, you've got to park, you got to walk, you want to get a good seat or, or maybe stand up on the side. I don't know. But, you want to be able to see your child up there. But sometimes I've found when I'm habitually late for something that if I really think about it, when I'm getting ready that morning and I think you could leave right now, but I think if I get there, then I'm just going to kind of walk around and talk to these people and I don't know them very well. Kind of like people who don't want to be early to the party. They like to get there after it's already going. So maybe there's some awkwardness there. Maybe there's some reason you don't know the people very well or you don't want to be there until it's going a little bit more. But that's something to consider. And I have realized that just because I may not want to walk in 10 minutes early, I could still get there 10 minutes early. That would give me time to park the car, make sure I get things that I need out of the car, maybe check my phone to see if there's a text or something I need to answer before I go in. There are things you could do arriving early that don't have to be awkward. They could be on your own. You could even go in and find the bathroom before you walk into your meeting or whatever it is. So you can evaluate that and see if maybe you're stopping yourself just because you don't really want to get there on time. But what if you do want to get there on time and whatever you try, it's not working? Whatever you try, it's not working. I heard once, and it's so true, that if you want to arrive on time, you have to plan to get there early. You have to plan to get there early. You can't think, okay, it takes me 15 minutes to get there, so I'll look at the clock or I'll set an alarm on my phone. I mean, there are other times we actually forget because with ADHD, it does happen where things slip our minds or we don't realize what time it is. So I do set a lot of alarms on my phone. And just this last year, I realized, I don't know, or maybe somebody told me, I wouldn't say I realized. Someone told me that you can label your alarms. That was next level for me because sometimes the alarm would go off, especially if it was in the afternoon or something. I think I have no idea what this is telling me to do, what it's reminding me to do. And I wouldn't even have it on my calendar. And I'd think, oh no, like, what am I missing? And then later I'd think, oh yeah, so labeling your alarm, if you have that feature on your phone, is really nice because you can even put it in weekly. Like for me, I teach a certain class every Friday. And so I can put on Fridays that I leave my house at this time, or I might have two alarms and one that says, get ready to leave. And the next one says, leave. But the leave one still gives me a few minutes so that if I think, oh, I don't have this ready, I don't have that ready, I've got a few minutes to do it, but not so many minutes that I think you really don't have to leave yet because that's happened before. And then I get distracted and I don't leave on time. So I guess I'm becoming like my mom. I could write a book. I could write a book about being late or how not to be late. But arriving early, if even if you don't want to get there early, the chances are, even if you plan to be there early, you won't get there too early, or and you don't really want to arrive right on time because then you don't have time to get out of the car, or let's say you're walking or riding your bike or however you're getting there, riding a bus. You do have to plan there to get there early so that you have time to walk into the space or out to the space if it's a soccer field or whatever. You need to plan to arrive early. And once I learned that, I thought, oh, I'm not trying to just get there at 9 o'clock. I'm trying to get there at a quarter till 9 o'clock. And that is super helpful because a lot of the times I would look at the clock in my car and think, oh, it takes me 12 minutes to get from here to the church. And because I'd notice the clock when I got to the church and I'd think, okay, that took 12 minutes. So that's all I need to schedule to get there on time, which isn't true because I need to walk out of my house, get in the car, and I need to get into the parking lot, find a parking spot, which some places it's not hard, but other times it is. You just don't know. Like one of the places that I teach yoga right now, I teach on Tuesday nights, and usually it's not hard to find a place to park. It's not a huge gym, it's not a huge town, but they started doing these first Tuesday of the month, which I couldn't figure out which night it was until just this last Tuesday. But the first Tuesday of the month, they're having an outdoor concert on a little stage that's right there in the kind of this town square. And people come and they park in the spots where people would usually park to go into the gym. So I have to think about it when I get there. I think, oh no, 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 okay, there's not, where am I going to park? I'm going to have to walk farther, so I really do have to allow for more time in case something like that comes up, or in case there's traffic, or in case there's road work, or in case, all those little in case things that can happen between point A and point B. And that's just all the advice for the people who don't have executive dysfunction. But if you factor in forgetting things, not being mindful, not being able to pay attention to too many things at once, if you're leaving your house to go out to the car, there's a really good chance that you get out there and you don't have your phone with you, unless you've got it way better off than I do in your brain. But so many times, like I'm going in the kitchen, I'm grabbing my keys, I'm grabbing my bag or my purse or whatever it is I'm taking out. And then I get out there and I think, do I have my phone? And I'll check the bag. Sometimes it's in there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I go back in the house and think it's in the house. It's actually in the bag. So it's just that inability to keep your mind on everything at once. How do people do that? How do people do that? How do they how do they know what they did with their phone between point A and, getting out to the car? I don't know. But sometimes I do. I have one of those loop things on my phone, and that's really helpful because if I slide it onto my finger, then I can still hold on to other stuff and it's with me. But there's times that I think it's not with me and it's actually on my hand. So, but just think of all the things that you need when you walk out of your house. And are you somebody who every once in a while, maybe every day, has to walk in and out and in and out and go, oh yeah, I forgot that. Oh yeah, I forgot that. And that may be your norm. It's my norm some of the time, not as much as it used to be, but my family got used to it because I'd always, I'm the kind of person that says goodbye when I leave the house. My kids are grown, it's not like I'm leaving any little ones home, but bye, I'm going here. See ya, blah blah blah. And then a few minutes later, oh, I just came in to get my sunglasses. And then bye, and then I go back out and then, oh, I forgot to bring my planner. I'll have time to look at that or whatever it is. It's not like I really do that with my planner, but I'm looking at it. So that's just popped in my mind. But just think of the things that you may need to run back in the house and get. So that could help to plan to arrive early because that allows for that running back in and running back out. Or if you have little ones, if you still change diapers, it's notorious for children to need a diaper change right when you thought everybody was ready to go. That just goes with the territory and being a mom. So allowing for things like that or someone to need to go to the bathroom last minute or whatever. Even going on trips, I mean, maybe this isn't really as important. Like you tell someone, I'm going to leave at this time and we'll be at your house at that time if you're going on a road trip or something. And I have done a lot of running in and out for that too. And it is really helpful if you can be the last one in the house to kind of survey and see if you need what you need. I may have mentioned this in a previous episode, but that became a pattern for us in our family. And my husband would go out to the car and start the car and say, everyone get in the car. And, we'd load up and all that kind of stuff. And all the kids are in the car. And I'm still running in and out of the house. Oh, yeah, I want a pillow. Or, oh, I forgot this. Or I need to leave a couple lights on. Or all those kinds of things. And it was so much nicer to know what I needed to do, even though it still might take me a few trips, walking in and out to recognize that. But it was way more doable without children still in the house that either needed something or that made it so I couldn't think of what I was thinking of because I'd see them and think, did you get your shoes? Or, just gave me more to think about. So that's just another aspect that if that works for you and your family, to be the last one in the car, it might be helpful. If your spouse or your whoever it is in your family that's might be out there with them driving or just in there with them waiting for you, that could be helpful because you can focus. And we need all the help we can get when it comes to focusing. Another strategy for arriving on time is to get everything ready that you need to have ready for leaving done far before it's time to leave. Meaning, even like the night before, the day before, or if you're going someone later in the day. Did I say someone? If you're going somewhere later in the day, doing that a few hours earlier when it's not a stressful moment or when it's not a time that the clock is ticking. Oh my gosh, I only have this much time. Do it when, like the 7 habits of highly effective people, when it's not urgent, that it's still important. If you want to have a water bottle with you in the car at all times, fill it up, have it ready, have it by your bag, your purse, whatever it is that you bring out the house with your goods in it, have it sitting there. If you think I might need a snack, have that snack in your bag. All those little things. And you don't even have to think about it that day. You could get home the day before and think, I ate the snack that was in my bag, so I'm going to replenish it if you like to have snacks in your bag. I do. I have a friend who had a snack drawer in her car. I thought that was the coolest thing. And I don't have, well, I guess we do have it. We have a drawer under the passenger seat, but my husband put the car manual in there and maybe the registration, all that kind of stuff under that. But she had her drawer was bigger. So it was a snack drawer, and you would get in her car, and we did not live somewhere where it got hot. I think about it now that I live somewhere where it gets hot. A lot of the things with chocolate would be, turned to liquid. They they get a little destroyed. But she would keep a lot of snacks in there to have available, just kind of high energy, l- not recovery, what do you call it? Kind of like sustenance snacks. If you're out and about and you need to run another errand, or you're not going to be home for another hour, but you need a little more energy, you've got something there. You don't have to stop, you don't have to slow down. I don't know if you're like me. I have a really hard time stopping on my way home from things. In fact, I went to the hardware store yesterday. This has nothing to do with being late that I can think of, but I'll probably think of something. I can connect ideas like anything. But anyway, I decided to go to the hardware store yesterday because our laundry room has some of those long tube fluorescent lights. And it was at least a month ago. Could have even been longer. It could have been 2 months ago by now. I was noticing that one of those lights went out there. One of them went out. There was a fluorescent light that was smaller that went out under the counter. There were some lights under our kitchen counter. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna write down, I'm getting organized here. I wrote down the little numbers on each of the lights, put them down on a piece of paper, and tried not to lose the paper. And I think there were three different tube lights that I needed to replace. They were all three different sizes. And so I went online to see if I could order them, and they weren't, Amazon seems to be the easy thing. The really big one wasn't available there unless I bought like a 12 pack or 20 pack, and it would cost $1 million. So I thought, no, I don't want to buy that there. But I don't want to go to the store. That takes a lot of time. So I was able to order the smaller ones, but the bigger one I ordered from a different website. I'm not going to promote them because they messed it up. But anyway, so I ordered it from them. It got lost in the mail. It got lost. I ordered some other things at the same time. They arrived, but this got lost. And so I went on the website, and all these things take so much away from whatever else it is that we want to focus on in life. So I had to go to that website. It said it's delayed, but it's coming. Like 3 weeks later, it's still saying that. And then I look at the notes on the tracking, and it said it was damaged in shipping, which means probably the light was broken and it wasn't going to arrive. But the store didn't get that notice. So I called him and I said, that's actually damaged and it's not going to arrive. Can you cancel that order so I can place another one? And they said yes. So I ordered the second one, and it arrived completely shattered. so, I think there's a reason they sell them in bigger boxes. Maybe that's how they ship them, to the stores. Maybe they they do better if they're a long, thin fluorescent light. But anyway, so all this time I've been thinking I need to go get another one. And my husband said, they just have them at the hardware store. And when he said that, I thought, I was just at the hardware store the other day. I don't know what I was getting, maybe some potting soil or something, and that was the closest place. But anyway, so I just keep going in that room with one of the lights, what kind of was out, and then the other one started flickering. And so that room's the laundry room, and our laundry room's actually kind of big. So it's kind of like I'm going into this dark cave, and there's one little window in there. So it's been bugging me. Eventually, the second fluorescent light went out. So yesterday, I thought, okay, you have time. You're driving home. You can stop at the hardware store and walk in, and you can find the number of that light somewhere on an order, and go in and buy it. Well, I'd have to buy two, but you can do that. So I was giving myself a pep talk because I get really stubborn about stopping on my way home. Like when I'm on my way home from teaching a class or something, I think, I just want to be home. I just want to do things there. I don't need to go anywhere else. I don't know why I do that. Do you get that way? It's like an overwhelm of walking in the store, of parking the car, and doing all this stuff. So anyway, so I was proud of myself because I taught myself into like just turn right here. See, it's even on the right side of the road. All the things that made it easier. I don't have to go to this light and turn left. I didn't know some of these things, make it sound like I'm not a very capable person. I can make myself turn left at a light. I do it often, but if I don't want to do it, then that becomes an excuse. So anyway, so I turn right. I go easy to park right in front of the store on the right side. Turn and look at the door, and I see a table set up, probably with a little tent thing over it. Three men standing there. I have no idea what they were trying to sell or promote. But when sometimes you go to a store and there's people standing there, they might have a clipboard and do you want to sign this petition or do you want to read this and do that or do you want to buy this or do you want to? I just did not have the energy for that. And I mean, it's not like I have to talk to them. I've learned that, just focus on the store and just keep walking, that kind of thing. Don't make eye contact because I'm such a people person. I have a hard time not making eye contact. And then if you make eye contact, they ask you a question and then you have to you have to engage. But my daughter's taught me you don't have to talk to people if you don't want to. So I've kind of learned that, like my eyes on the store opening and I'm just gonna pretend like I don't see them. But since I was parked to the right and I'd have to walk to the left, I'd be walking straight toward them. I don't have that straight shot. I'd have to get out of my car and kind of like back up in the parking lot to make that straight shot, which would have been stupid. So anyway, it took me all of about 2 seconds to process that whole idea of that is too much. I can't deal with talking with people that are asking me to do something that I may not want to do, and I can't deal with ignoring people right now. So I just taken the keys out of the car, I put them back in, and I drove home. So I still don't have a light down there, and who knows when I will. I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you know if you want an update. Do you have things like that that are crazy in your life that you just think, I don't know, why do I have these little mental battles? I don't know. I don't know. I can be on time when I'm heading back home because there's a desire. Are you a homebody? I know some people are, some people aren't. I love being home, and I've passed that on to my kids. My kids love being home too. I mean, not that they all live here, but we enjoy being home. We're not, we don't think, oh, I need to go and do and go and do and go and do all the time. Although I am a people person, I'm an extrovert. I love being around people, but I love solitude as well. I just love that peace of mind. And I'm the only girl in my family, so I think having my own room most of my life, except when I was younger, I just enjoyed being on my own. But not that this is all about me. This is also for you too. So I hope that something I've said might help you if you do struggle with being late, or maybe you don't struggle with being late, but you know that other people do. It might be someone in your family that doesn't want you to be late, and you're making that harder for them, or it might be making it harder for yourself if you don't make it to a doctor's appointment or something, and then you have to reschedule and you've wasted all that time. That would be harder. Also, factoring in traffic. Do you live where there's traffic? I have learned about that because most of my life I lived in rural areas where we didn't have traffic. In fact, this one area where we raised our kids for 15 years, there was a place where you'd cross the bridge to get to the bigger town, but it still wasn't that big. And sometimes when we get to that bridge, there's a stoplight, maybe a block or so past that where you turn to Target. They put a Target there, and then it would, just some more people coming in and stuff from the highway. It was the highway going through the town. And I would say to my kids, "Oh, see this? This is what we call traffic," because we didn't really. That was the only example of traffic. There was no traffic there. That I lived the last 11 years was really close to the Bay Area. the coastal area. And so, yeah, in the summertime, we had what we called beach traffic, and you gauged everything around that. So that the only time that I've missed a doctor's appointment and they said, sorry, we have to reschedule. It's not the only time I was late, but it's the only time I had to reschedule because I was really late. Is I was driving my daughter to the dermatologist and I did not factor in Friday afternoon traffic. Friday afternoon, people coming to the beach to go to dinner, people getting off work early. Who knows what would happen on Friday afternoons, but it was worse than every other afternoon that and that traffic would start about 4. So I got to where I just didn't schedule things later in the day. You know, if you don't like dealing with traffic, that's another thing. If you have that impatience of not liking to be in line, which is common with ADHD, and traffic is just another version of a line. But I feel like it's worse because you can't escape it. You know, if you're stuck in the middle, if you're in line, you can leave the line. You know, most of the time you can leave a line, but if you're in traffic, you can't. I'm not trying to stress you out more if you're in traffic right now and make you panic, but that's how I feel. I think I'm trapped. But one of my little tricks for traffic, trips, wait, tricks for traffic is to recognize that the next day I won't be there and that road will be empty, maybe not completely empty, but whatever traffic jam is going on that you're in, whether it's from rush hour or an event or leaving a concert can be really, really trafficy and slow. Any of those things is just to give me hope is to say at 3 o'clock in the morning, tonight, this won't be this way, meaning you're going to get home at some point and hopefully far, much earlier than 3 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, I was thinking about as I was starting this, how our brains can just go bing, 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 bing. And I don't know if you remember or if you ever made string art, where you take a string and tie a knot around it and then go to another place, another place, another place, another place. It's kind of like a spirograph, but it's much more sloppy. But I don't know, that's what our brains can ping around a lot. And so that might happen when I'm on here. But I found that when I'm talking to friends who do that and then they say, oh, sorry, my ADHD, I just got all scattered and I have completely followed them from one thought to the other. And it's probably brought up more thoughts for me, but I don't have a hard time following it. So hopefully you don't have a hard time following me. But I hope I was able to give you a few ideas to help you maybe be on time more than you were before, or maybe evaluate why you don't want to be on time, and maybe that can help it improve or prepare yourself so that it is as simple as walking out the door when it's time to go. You'll know where your keys are, you know where whatever it is you need to bring with you is, and you just grab it and go. And of course, there will be times that it doesn't work out. In fact, every trip that we went on when our kids were growing up, I told my husband it was usually about a mile or two away that I'd go, oh, that's not one thing I'd remember. I mean, it could be more further away, but I think it was just, like once you get on the road, your brain relaxes a little bit. And you're like, okay, we did it. We all got in the car. We got everything here. Like the hard part's over, at least for packing and preparing. And I would remember the one thing I forgot. And I think it's just because my brain cleared out a little bit and then that would come to mind. But there usually was one thing, and I survived it. I'm sure you do too. But thanks so much for being here. Next time, I do want to explore more of that situation that we find ourselves in a lot with those ideas, so many ideas coming up, because it does more than just distract you. It does more than just entertain you. It does more than just make it hard to be in conversation sometimes with people if you can't pay attention. But it can also almost like make your mind feel like it's exploding. I feel like sometimes that was happening to me today because I've been trying to learn different things to finish up my website and make some more blog posts and learn to pin on Pinterest and, all these different aspects of finding my place online and making some products that you can find. And they don't just have to be paid products. They could be free products, things that you can find, articles or whatever it is. And oh my gosh, there's just so much information out there that you just start just going, oh yeah, I'll try this, I'll try that, I'll try that. And then it's just so hard to know what to just how to just block out all those all those other voices that are saying, oh, there's also this, oh, there's also that, because it's not just our voice, it's also other people's voices. And I want to talk about that more next time because I have found ways that help that today I had to remind myself of them. Because no matter how many times we succeed at something, our brain hasn't changed for the most part. I mean, there are ways to change it, right? There's medication, there's supplements, there's exercise, there's mindfulness, there's a lot of things, but our brain is still our brains. Your brain's your brain, my brain's my brain. So I think we have to continue to recognize what's going on and then think, oh yeah, I know how to deal with this. It's just stepping back and just noticing what's happening, like I say in a yoga class, with whatever conversation that's going on in your mind, whatever thought process you have going on, just stepping back and noticing what's happening is really helpful for mindfulness, for just relaxing all those thoughts and that kind of thing. That's in, like in a yoga class. And you could do that at other times too. Oh goodness, I have so much I could say on that. But I'm just talking about whatever situation you're in, like having your brain feel like it's going to explode and you think, why? Why is that happening right now? And it might be because you are just chasing so many ideas at once. You cannot possibly do it. It could also be that you're having to sit still and be quiet. And you need to get up, you need to move, you need to talk. There's a lot of ways that our brains can feel like they're going to explode. And of course, that's not a, you know, scientific term. That is just my way of describing it. But thank you so much for being here again today. I am so happy. I am in double digits for podcast episodes. I'm just taking one step at a time, learning how to be in touch with you and share what the journey is for women with ADHD. Hopefully, my journey is something that you can relate to. I would love to hear from you and anything that resonates with you. I do have a website. That was one of the things my head was exploding with today is maybe changing my brand colors, but I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So if you go there and think, wait, this doesn't look the same, I don't know. I got to figure that out. But I do have a website. There is a contact form. You're welcome to write to me. You're welcome to say hello. There are a few options for freebies on there too, that if you put your name and email in there to have that sent, I'll be in touch with you that way too. But I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what kind of help you're looking for. Not that I'm the help guru at all, but anything that I can provide that can make your life a little easier, a little more doable, I would love to do that because I'm sure you're amazing and I'm sure it gets frustrating when things aren't as smooth as we might hope they could be, right? But anyway, thanks again. Thanks again for being here. Take care. And until next time, hope you have a wonderful whatever day is going on for you and rest of your week. Bye.
Double chins, rubber ducks, squeaky cheese and paper cups, applesauce, Superman, rocket ships and Peter Pan. The silence of sound has yet been found, but not by me.